watching the Mets, as I've watched them so far all season, I got to tell you, Teak, there is something fundamentally wrong with the way the Mets are constructed. You know, the New York Mets, and I applaud their aggressive, financial position, but the Mets payroll, which is through the roof, $336 million, by the way, almost $70 million more than the Yankees, it's just not good enough. I mean, I'm watching this Mets lineup. They've got one of the absolute worst DHs in baseball. All right, they've got, I think, until Beatty comes up, one of the, if you want to be fair to Escobar, not say worst, one of the lower third base situations in all of baseball. They've got absolutely one of the weakest catching situations in baseball. And, their left fielder, I like Cotta. He's a pro. Don't get me wrong. But he's 34. Never made an all-star team. Never will. And he's never had more than 70 RBIs. And yet, somehow the Mets payroll is almost $350 million. It needs to be said. It's not very good.
Well, they won 101 games last year. Their payroll it's interesting because of how it is parsed out. It is heavy with pitchers. Max Scherzer's making $43 million. You got Carlos Carrasco's making $14 million. Verlander's making $43 million. I think they have the same deal, basically. Verlander and Scherzer. So there's $43 million. Senga, he's at $15 million. When you look at the rotation, that's where you get a lot of the money. And so I get it. I get what you're saying. It doesn't feel heavy enough. It doesn't feel
threatening enough.
Exactly. We came to the word at the same time. Threatening enough when you look at the bats. But the reason that the payroll is where it is because the Mets are trying to win by outpitching their opponent. The problem is that Carlos Carrasco is affected by the pitch clock, as we saw.
Yeah, that's not a surprise, by the way.
No,
we thought that would be an issue coming in.
Verlander is hurt.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer is going to give you 5 to 6 innings, at least for most of the regular season. And so you get pushed into the bullpen, which is, it's really good so far.
It's been strong.
To date, been strong.
Yep. Except Hunter, who was absolutely horrendous.
Oh, yeah,
Good God.
But I hear what you're saying, but I push back because I know how the Mets are going to try to win this year. And it's not going to be by leading the league in home runs.
Yeah, I get that.
It's going to be with their arms. And so it's to me, it's a perceptual overspend.
Okay.
Because it feels weak. The run scoring ability, the ability to smash home runs, to submit the opponent because you just can't get to the lineup without giving up hits and home runs. That's not the Mets. It's because their pitching is supposed to be their strength. And eventually, I think it will be, even though early on, especially yesterday, it was clearly the biggest detriment on the team.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not overreacting. At least I'm not trying to a 10-zip loss. I mean, the Yankees get spanked a bunch this year. The Mets get spanked. It's baseball. It's 162 games. I'm not even worried about that. But see, and this is certainly not about Alonso. And the Mets' big guns are off to a bad start.
He's not even being paid yet, Pete Alonso.
Oh, I know. True. Yeah, I know.
Right.
He's not really hitting yet either.
No,
neither is Lindor.
Oh, Lindor is gross right now.
Neither is McNeil. And those guys will hit. Neither is Nimmo. I'm not worried about those. This is not, a lack of conviction for the Mets stars. I guess what I see is there's just too much stress on the Mets stars. Like if your 2, 3, 4 best players have a rough week or so, the Mets are doing nothing. Mm-hmm. I mean, just again, and I'm always down for a fun debate. I'd like to have things that are put out there for. I just think it's a more interesting conversation when things can be refuted. If everything's one-sided, there's really not a whole lot to dig in on. But I mean, put me in my place. I mean, the catcher stinks. The third baseman, whatever. Left field, and I know Connor's coming off a good couple of games. The 3 hits the other. I get that. He's never had more than 70 ribbies in a season.
Yeah.
And he's one of your big hitters.
Yeah, but I think
and your DH is awful.
Narvaez is going to be fine. He's had a couple.
Fine. What he had 206 last year.
Oh, I know that, but he's had a good start to the season.
He's not a hitter. He's one of the weakest catchers in baseball. Stop.
But the problem is you're looking, and I kind of remember having the same conversation last year. Remember Robinson, Cano, bunted. Remember they were
yes, I do.
They were struggling to get on base. He just bunted, and it kind of was. I don't know. It sparked a little something in the team. I think they ended up winning that game, but they're a small ball team. They're not going to lead the league in home runs. They're not even going to get close to it. They have maybe two guys that you fear in the lineup. Pete Alonso, you certainly do.
Yep.
Maybe there's another one, but not.
I don't think you fear Lindor, but you just know you have to be smart with Lindor. He's a really good player. Although if he would have gotten that ground ball, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know
he made some great plays over the week. He's a
really
good player.
But Marte's same way. Like you're not scared of him, but he can hurt you.
You're aware of him.
If you're reckless around him.
You're aware of him.
You're aware of him.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
There's really only one guy that scares you, and that's Pete Alonso.
Yep.
And so when you look at
But you could work around him with nobody behind him. That's the problem.
But when you look at the roster as it pertains to the money, you feel like you're being shorted because you're spending so much money. I mean, it's not even close to number two. It's not even close, right?
It's the Yankees who are nearly, I think it's exactly $66 million away.
That's right. And
behind the Mets.
And for that amount of money, you can't go get shut out.
No, you got to, but not even everybody's going to get shut out. But for that, I would phrase it this way. For that amount of money, you got to thump people. Mm-hmm. At least twice, 3 times. You got to just smack people.
My pushback, though,
and they won't.
My pushback is that the Mets' strength is not the bats and the money that they're spending on the bats.
I understand
it's the money that they're spending on pitching.
I get that.
Now, that's letting you down early because Verlander's not here. And he's going to be out.
But also let you down against the Braves down in Atlanta. It let you down against the Padres in the play. There were signs last year. This is a continuation of the problem from a year ago.
But don't you think the Mets have to have a philosophy, right?
Sure, I just think they might have the wrong one right now.
Every team has a philosophy, right? You think about the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to have a philosophy. We don't need big-time wide receivers or running backs because we have Lamar Jackson. We just need a good tight end, right? That's not everybody. The Kansas City Chiefs, they don't espouse that philosophy. They're like, let's give some bombers for Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball downfield to, right? So every team has different philosophies, right? The Ravens, the Buccaneers, or whoever it may be, used to win on defense. Philosophies matter, and you got to stick to them. I think the Mets are sticking to a philosophy of let's shore up pitching, let's make it the best staff, both starting 5 and bullpen in Major League Baseball, and we'll win that way by playing, getting the hits when we can, hitting home runs when we need to, type of thing. And so the money is huge, but it's only because they're spending so much of it on their pitching staff. Their starting pitchers, I mean, it's almost $150 million, right, for the starting pitchers. So
just about.
So it's a lot of money for pitching. And it makes you feel like the whole roster is weak relative to the money, but I think it's skewed simply because of how it's laid out.
Just half the lineup. Honestly, half the lineup is kind of punchless. Now, I don't know when they're bringing Beatty up. I don't know when they're bringing the other kids up, and that's where it could change. That's where I hope that it changes, but honestly, for $336 million, I look at this lineup. I'm like, I could have constructed this team. And listen, we get on Cashman, and I buried Cashman with certain things the last year or so. You talk about the resources financially devoted to the Mets rotation. Well, the Yankees have devoted similar, not quite as much for 2 guys. They broke it off for Rodon. Mm-hmm. Garrett Cole's obviously getting a ton. But the Yankees still rolled out sticks. I mean, they still roll out sticks. And the lineup is, I don't know, man. And please spare me. Please spare me. Yankee fan, Met team, stop. Just be honest with yourself. Look at the Mets lineup, and you know that I'm right. 877-337-6666. It's not good. For the middle forward, it's weak. It's fairly impotent. It's punchless. I mean, name one contender, honestly. Name one contender that would say, oh, God, I wish I had Danny Vogelback as my designated hitter. The answer is there's none. They're not even non-contenders that would want Vogelback as your DH. Now, push it behind the plate, okay? Give me a contender that would say, that's the guy that I want as my catcher. There's nobody.
Yeah. I mean,
now there might be a team or two. Hell, I mean, I wouldn't even really mind Escobar on the Yankees. He might fit better than Donaldson night to night, but even that list is incredibly short. Find the teams that are going to win 90-plus games and bang the baseball around on a night-to-night basis, and find me the team that would say, I've got respect for Canada, don't take it the wrong way, but I want Moncada as my starting left fielder. At the age of 34, who's never had more than 70 RBIs. Find the team. There's none.
Yeah, but I'm saying that their strength, and they, at least as they see it, is pitching. And unfortunately, they've had injuries. Edwin Diaz is obviously out for the season, presumably.
Yeah.
Justin Verlander's out right now. Carrasco got banged around. Quintana's out right now. It's a lot of money.
Okay,
There's a lot of money that's not being utilized at all.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's
to
basically,
be fair.
That's basically $75 million.
Okay, hold on. We'll take off the $20 million for Diaz, and now it goes from 336 to 316. Okay, and then shave off the 40ish. And you're
Verlander.
for Verlander, and you're about 270ish, right?
Yep.
That's still just about more than the Yankees,
and
that's the whole point.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you can't,
I don't like this lineup.
The problem is you can't.
I don't like
you
it.
You can't look at the money and not be expecting more. You can't look at it.
That's what I'm saying.
And say, what am I scared of here? Other than the pitching, if it's healthy, and it's not obviously, and it's not going to be all season long, but. Other than the pitching, what are you scared of? Pete Alonso?
That's about it.
Yeah.
And again, Lindor is a very good player, and I love McNeil, but no, it's a short list. And my fear is that, again, the stress put on the Mets stars, and we know who their stars are. It's unfair. I don't know that any other team that's in the conversation based on the odds, based on the optics, based on the moves, based on the belief within the fan base, and the Mets certainly are on that list of teams that have a chance to get to and win a World Series. I mean, what teams rely that much on two or three guys?
Not many.
That's the problem. No? All right, let's get to it. I don't know what to expect today, Teak. I don't know what's coming at us here. 877-337-6666. By the way, we're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio here on the Fan-Tiki and Tierney Show. You always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Joe's in Clark, New Jersey. First up, Joe, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
What's going on, guys? What's up, Teak?
All's good, man. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Big T? Yeah, I called you guys. I called you guys after the season, bro. I mean, I echo everything you say, BT. I mean, sitting there at Game 3 watching Musgrove one hit us, we all looked at each other and said, man, we need at least two more power bats in this lineup. I mean, we did nothing down the stretch last year against the Braves and against the Padres. And on the offseason, we didn't have anything. We had a Correa, and he took it away from us. We needed at least one or two bats, power bats. It's a disgrace, bro. It's almost a $400 million payroll with the luxury tax. You put this slop out there? Are you kidding me? 5 through 9. Double-A teams have better lineups than that. It's just, and bro, let me tell you something. The top two pitchers right now, Scherzer worries me because his velocity's way down from where it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we saw Carrasco yesterday throwing meatballs, 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. That's batting practice.
Yeah.
Batting practice fastball. He looks shot. I mean, there's a lot to worry about here, guys.
I won't say he's shot, but I will say he's unprepared.
Who, Carrasco?
Yeah.
I don't think he shot either.
I think he was unprepared for what this new pitch clock brought.
You can't get guys out going 90 miles an hour.
Oh, I agree.
But he has.
Hey, but Joe, I mean, I don't know if you were listening when we had Cece on. We keep referencing this conversation because it was enlightening, right? BT's been following baseball for a long time. I recently the last decade or so, gotten really into baseball. I didn't even think about what CC told us, which is when the pitch clock came in, the velocities would necessarily go down because you can't just rear back and throw 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
In a 20-second or 15-second break if nobody's on base. And so we see this. And Carlos Carrasco said this. He said, "Bass, I'm tired." He was worn out.
He did say it.
He
said it after the game.
Out. And so, of course, he's throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs because his peak is what, 94?
Just 93, 94, 90,
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he gets tired.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's throwing meat.
Give you a good example. And it's in play with the Masters here. Think about Bryson DeChambeau, right?
Yes.
Think about how he huffs and puffs.
Right.
As he gears up for one monster swing.
Which is why as soon as he got big like that, we knew this is not sustainable.
Yes, but imagine if there was a clock, and I know that golfers can get put on the clock, but imagine if there really was an accelerated expectation on the tee box, and he couldn't do that. Is he still going to crank at 370 every time?
No.
Probably not. 877. And that's not even my concern. Like, Carrasco, I don't want to say he's an ancillary figure. He's a rotation piece right now, but he's decent, and he's had a good career, and I respect him. That's not even my main concern. It's the bats. How do you have this payroll and trot out this lineup? Once you get past your stars, it's embarrassing.
What's up, Tone?
Tony's in Lodi. What's cooking, Tony? How you doing, bud?
Good, man. BT, the Mets lost 10-0 yesterday because you had me on hold for an hour and a half and didn't get to me.
I'm sorry, buddy. Well, maybe they'll win tonight 10-0 because we got you the second call of the show, Tony.
That's right. Then blame
Yeah,
Hoff.
they won't score 10 runs over a week. But listen, my problem with the Mets, obviously you know, is Lindor. I'm on Lindor watch. He's batting 143 to start the season. I don't want to dive into the payroll because that's everybody's topic. But what I want to bring to the table here, call up the young guys. Don't make me boo Easy Out Escobar, Tomas Nido, Daniel Vogelback.
Interesting.
Don't make me hate those guys. Bring up Beatty. Bring up Alvarez. Because you know what? At least the fan base could get behind those guys and root for them.
Yeah. You're not going to see Alvarez for a while.
Yeah, they'll give
Just
him the
prepare
benefit.
yourself.
You're talking about they'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Of course, like the Yankees
kids.
with Volpe.
Yeah.
For sure.
Correct, because this is pathetic right now. I'm going to opening day, BT,
Yep.
and I'm probably going to boo more guys than I'm going to cheer for.
Well,
The
don't do
team is
that.
wretched.
Come on,
I mean,
Tony.
come on. Don't do that, Tony. You know, I need to boo
I'm on a
him.
roll, guys. Yesterday was pathetic, and
Don't get frustrated
just-
by a day. It's just a day, Tony.
Well, no, but it's a continuation of
I
the year
know,
ago, so it's
I
not
know,
just a day.
I know,
Let's be fair.
I know, but if they had found a way to win yesterday, Tony wouldn't be so iresome.
I don't know. I mean, I think Tony's been fairly eloquent in his position
has.
really the past year or so. He
I
has
think-
not wavered from
but
that, and he's been proven right so far.
I think Tony's going to stay on Lindor until he's proven right.
I'm not even mentioning Lindor. Yeah, maybe. Like when he's 35. You see, I told you it was a bad
told
setting.
ya.
Nah, he's shading Lindor. Lindor's a terrific player. This is not about Alonso, not about Lindor, not about McNeil. And I know nobody's hitting yet of their studs, right? They're going to hit. Those guys are all a McNeil batting champion. He rolls out of bed. He's going to hit 310. Don't worry about those guys. It's the other They don't have enough to win night to night. They don't. I told you this last year. I told you this over the winter. And I told you before the season started that I had a concern that the Mets would not even be a playoff team. Now, I'm not going to keep throwing that at you, but you need to understand the deficiencies of this team. And more importantly, the Mets front office better recognize. And these young kids better be brought up. Because the guys that they're trotting out night to night for $340 million payroll ain't it. And they're never going to be it. Beatty, it. Alvarez, eventually it. These guys got to come up. Who wants to watch these other guys play? They'll never hit. Ever. 877-337-6666. Hate to drop the hammer this early in the season, but it is what it is. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan.